Okay, so here's some photographs of the car I'm looking at. This is a 91 Mercury Grand Marquis. I used to own one identical to it a long time ago. But anyway, about 20 years ago I did. But here we go. Yep, it looked just like that. There weren't a bad car really, but what I'm wondering about is I did a little research on the transmission problem. Now I'm kind of living in the past automotively, and so I don't really know very much. Um, I don't really know very much about this particular issue. I thought it was something completely different. I thought it would be a modulator that was gone, but it's looking like it's probably what they call it, the throttle valve cable that's come apart at the throttle connection there at the engine. And apparently there's a plastic piece in there, a grommet, that if it deteriorates, which plastic does, as we know, then it will the cable can fall off. And if that happens, it can burn up your transmission very quickly, because that controls the pressure in your transmission. So your fluid may not be getting to everything, and so you may have transmission parts running dry, and it'll burn it out. If I do go look at it, I'll be checking the transmission fluid to see if it's burnt, and I'll also be checking that cable linkage itself to see if the cable's in place or not. I suspect that it won't be. It's amazing, just a little piece of plastic can wreck a car. And that's why plastic parts are not good for the most part in automotive stuff. It's alright to have plastic dash panels and stuff, but to have essential components made out of plastic, something that could wreck the car, it's crazy. Anyway, it's just a little grommet, and if it's failed, which I'll bet it has, then that's what it'll be. Like I say, Fords are weird. One reason that I have never owned very many Fords in my life, I've owned two that I can remember. I owned a 47 Ford Monarch, which was a good car. Actually, I have owned 3 Fords. I've owned that. I've owned the 91 Grand Marquis like this one. And I owned a 97 Grand Marquis, which was an awful car. It was one of the worst cars I ever owned, that 97 was. It was a terrible car. The 91 Grand Marquis I had wasn't a bad car, except that it was really hard to start in the wintertime. And I knew other people that owned cars like that, and they had similar issues starting them in the wintertime. There's something with the fuel injection that they didn't start very well when it got cold. Anyway, I like a carburetor, and I like everything to be mechanical, and I like everything to be metal. At least essential components to be metal. And I just don't like plastic parts and computers and, unit construction and all kinds of... I don't like that stuff. And front wheel drive and everything. I actually have trouble to drive a modern vehicle because the steering I find very stiff in them. And I find there's no give in the wheel at all. You move the wheel just a slight bit, and you're changing direction drastically. And I oversteer modern stuff for that reason, and it makes it unsafe for me to drive it. And I've never been able to overcome that. No matter how hard I try, I still manage somehow to oversteer the car, and I end up losing control of it. But I've never lost control of a rear-wheel drive body-on-frame car, and so that's what I like to stick to. But of course, they're rare as hen's teeth now. This is rear-wheel drive body-on-frame, and the body looks good. If the undercarriage looks equally good, then it would be a good car, except for the transmission. But the transmission is very expensive. You don't want to have to replace one of those, so I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, it says my video size limit is up, so I guess this is it for now. There's Rocky having to sleep on his pillow.